confession. Not to a priest, not for attention, only to the quiet air, only to the candle there. He confessed he had been tired of being needed, being wired to hold the weight and wear a smile while walking every lonely mile. He confessed he missed his younger laugh before the world demanded half, before he learned the finest art was hiding cracks inside the heart. But he did not break in to do display. He did not throw himself away. He let the truth pass soft and slow where no careless ears could go. Velvet chair confession, midnight self-reflection. A gentleman speaks without a crowd, his quiet honesty not loud. Velvet chair confession, pain under discretion. He owns the hurt, then lets it be, and keeps his soul in dignity. The soft drums brushed the smoky floor. The guitar leaned against the door, and every note felt dark and warm, like shelter after private storm. He thought of people calling him strong, never asking what felt wrong. They loved the calm he always gave, but not the silence that it made. Still he would not blame their blindness, would not trade his grace for kindness. He simply sat and understood that doing right can still hurt good. He knew no man is made of steel, no quiet heart forgets to feel, but discipline can hold the line until the wounded parts align. Velvet chair confession, midnight self-reflection. A gentleman speaks without a crowd, his quiet honesty not loud. Velvet chair confession, pain under discretion. He owns the hurt, then lets it be, and keeps his soul in dignity. One deep breath, one glass half full, one old shadow growing dull. One decision made inside, to live with truth and not with pride. In a velvet chair the night grew thin. He placed his silence back within, and left the room without expression, carrying his own confession. Before morning, you heard the last glass ring. The city outside was yawning, but his mind still weighed everything. He had a meeting after sunrise, a hard truth to declare, a room of smiling faces, and a deal no longer fair. He sat there calm and proper, no panic in his breath. A man can face tomorrow without dramatizing death. He did not fear the honest word, he feared the coward's delay. So he let the blues prepare him for what he had to say. 5 minutes before morning, he found the line to take. Not for ego, not for money, but for his own name's sake. 5 minutes before morning, the candlelight burned low. A gentleman made ready for the path he had to go. The warm guitar kept turning like wheels on empty streets. The drums moved soft as secrets under tired dancing feet. He thought about the numbers, the signatures, the trust, how gold can turn to poison when clean hands touch the dust. He would not sell his silence to men who smile too wide. He would not trade his standards for a comfortable lie. He straightened up his collar, watched the window fade from black, and left behind the light of life that he would not take back. 5 minutes before morning, he found the line to take. Not for ego, not for money, but for his own name's sake. 5 minutes before morning, the candlelight burned low. The gentleman made ready for the path he had to go. Some decisions cost you comfort, some decisions cost you friends, but the price of losing honor is the one that never ends. 5 minutes before morning, he stepped into the grave. No speech, no fear, no warning, just a man who chose his way. He was a man who measured fire, never fed it with desire, never let a sudden spark burn his name into the dark. He knew the heat of being wronged, knew how fury can sing alone, but in the bar's low candle glow, taught his anger to move slow. The night was full of careless men who lost themselves at 9 or 10, but he sat still with sharpened grace, a quiet law upon his face. He had no taste for empty wars, no need to kick down closing doors. He held his power in reserve, the calm the reckless don't deserve. He measured fire, he measured pain. He let the blue notes cool his brain. He did not strike, he did not fall. He kept his spirit under hold. He measured fire, he measured truth, left behind the rage of youth. A gentleman with steady aim, master of his private flame. The bartender saw the look he wore, a man who had been here before. Not this bar, but this kind of night, where wrong and right stand close in sight. He had been offered easy lies, quick revenge and cheap disguise. But easy roads had taught him well, they often end in private hell. So he chose the harder, cleaner way, to take the hit and walk away, to leave one message never sent, and let restraint become intent. The guitar growled beneath the smoke, like something old in him awoke. But he just breathed and let it pass, through candlelight and quiet glass. He measured fire, he measured pain. He let the blue notes cool his brain. He did not strike, he did not fall. He kept his spirit under hold. He measured fire, he measured truth, left behind the rage of youth. A gentleman with steady aim, master of his private flame. Not every blaze deserves a fight, not every wrong deserves the light. Some victories are born alone, where no one hears the thunder groan. The room grew quiet when he rose, the candle bent, the music closed, and every shadow seemed to name the man who mastered his own flame. Black tag, blue memory. He sat where old ghosts let him be. A candle flickered by his side, like something wounded still with pride. He had a face no crowd could read, a heart that learned to rarely plead. He kept his troubles buttoned tight, gave no weakness to the night. There was a woman in his past, a summer promise built too fast. But he would never stain her name with bitterness or public blame. He knew that love can leave a mark and still deserve to stay in dark. Some stories do not need defense, only silence and reverence. Black tie, blue memory, a quiet man with dignity. He does not drink to disappear, he drinks to see the truth more clear. Black tie, blue memory, refined by what he would not be. No harsh goodbye, no angry sound, just grace where broken hearts are found. The band played slow, the night leaned in, the guitar carried what had been. The brush drums moved like careful hands across the ruins of his plans. He remembered laughing in the rain, then signing papers through the pain. Remembered choosing not to fight when leaving softly became right. He had no trophy from that fall, no perfect answer after all, but he had kept one sacred thing, the discipline suffering can bring. He did not call the past a curse, he did not make the wound feel worse. He let the candle take the heat and kept his sorrow clean and neat. Black tie, blue memory, a quiet man with dignity. He does not drink to disappear, he drinks to see the truth more clear. Black tie, blue memory, refined by what he would not be. No harsh goodbye, no angry sound, just grace where broken hearts are found. There is honor in release, there is mercy inside peace, there is strength in letting go without needing them to know. Black tie, blue memory, he left the bar respectfully, and not one person heard the cost of all he loved and all he lost. The last word he never said still lived quietly in his head, not because he lacked the nerve, but because peace must be preserved. He sat alone where blue lights fall, near the cracked brick eastern wall. The candle burned beside his drink, giving him room enough to think. There was a message he could write, a truth that could disturb the night. But some truths, when released too late, only teach the heart to hate. Turn the phone away from sight. Let the screen go black as night, and chose the kind of silent grace that leaves no wound upon a face. The last word he never said did not make him weak or dead. It made him wiser than the pain, cleaner than the need to blame. The last word he never spoke rose and vanished with the smoke. A gentleman knows when to leave the sharpest truth where none can bleed. The guitar hummed like old advice, warm as sin and cold as ice. The brush drums whispered, let it go, and rhythms only still men know. He thought of how the story changed, how close friends became estranged, how every ending asks a man to show the shape of his command. So he did not punish, did not chase, did not throw his heart in place. He folded anger into prayer and left it with the candle there. He was not silent out of fear, he simply saw the ending clear and understood the strongest art is not to poison your own heart. The last word he never said did not make him weak or dead. It made him wiser than the pain, cleaner than the need to blame. The last word he never spoke rose and vanished with the smoke. A gentleman knows when to leave the sharpest truth where none can bleed. Many men would call, confess, turn old hurt to one more mess. But he had learned from darker years that peace is worth unshed tears. The last word stayed behind the flame. No witness came, no judgment came. He walked out slow, composed, well-read, with the last word still unsaid. Smoke rings over a tired heart. He watched them drift and fall apart. The candle drew a trembling line across the bourbon and the pine. He had been strong since 17, too young to know what strong could mean, too old tonight to keep pretending that every road was never ending. He let his shoulders loose and slow, where only late night shadows go. A man can rest and still be brave. A gentleman can need a place. He did not come to be restored by anyone beside the Lord, or music, or the quiet flame that never asked about his name. Smoke rings over a tired heart, holding together, falling apart. He keeps the ache behind his eyes and lets the blues become the sky. Smoke rings over a tired heart, a refined man in the darker part. He does not beg the world to care. He finds his breathing in the air. The brush drums made the room feel kind. The guitar eased his crowded mind, and every chord that softly cried touched something he had locked inside. He thought of duty, thought of age, thought of being calm on every stage, thought of all the times he smiled while carrying thunder mile by mile. But there was no shame in sitting still, no weakness in a weary will. So he let one tear stay unseen, hidden where the glass had been. He wiped no face, he made no sound. He simply placed the sorrow down, and in that act so small, so plain, he took possession of his pain. Smoke rings over a tired heart, holding together, falling apart. He keeps the ache behind his eyes and lets the blues become the sky. Smoke rings over a tired heart, a refined man in the darker part. He does not beg the world to care. He finds his breathing in the air. There is no shame in quiet healing, no disgrace in softer feeling. Even iron needs the rain, even strong men carry strain. Smoke rings faded into night, his tired heart grew still and light. And when he left, no one could see how silence gave him room to breathe. He carried weather in his chest, rain no stranger ever guessed, clouds behind a tailored vest, thunder that he kept at rest. At the corner of a midnight bar, he sat beneath a tired star. The candle trembled near his hand, like it almost understood the man. Outside, the city chased its noise. Inside, he gathered broken poise. Not every storm must flood the street. Some storms kneel at a man's own feet. He did not fear the coming rain. He only feared becoming pain. So he held the darker weather down and wore composure like a crown. The gentleman's weather rose inside, where no one sees the changing tide. He does not shout, he does not break. He learns which roads a man must take. The gentleman's weather, dark and deep, keeps its secrets while others sleep. A refined soul in a smoky room, turning hardship into bloom. The brush drums fell like distant rain. The guitar warmed the window pane, and every note in minor blue made old decisions feel brand new. He thought of all he did not say to keep a fragile peace in place, of times he let the insult pass and watched his anger leave the glass. He had no need to be the storm, no hunger to appear transformed. He only wished to walk out clean, with nothing cruel left in between. A man may feel the lightning rise and still keep mercy in his eyes. A man may hurt and still remain too wise to weaponize his pain. The gentleman's weather rolls inside, when no one sees the changing tide. He does not shout, he does not break. He learns which roads a man must take. The gentleman's weather, dark and deep, keeps its secrets while others sleep. A refined soul in a smoky room, turning hardship into bloom. Let the night test every nerve. Let the bitter get what they deserve. He will not bend himself to rage. He writes restraint on every page. When morning touched the window frame, he left without a word or claim. The weather stayed behind his eyes, calm beneath the clearing skies. Cufflinks and candle smoke, a gentleman barely spoke. He took his place by the back wall light, dressed like mercy, warm like night. There was a crease in his dark blue sleeve, a little sign of things he'd leave. A careful man with a careful stare, breathing slow in the midnight air. He had a choice beneath his tongue, old enough to know the young. Loud parts of him had long since gone, but the deeper man kept moving on. He did not come to drown his mind, he came to leave a weight behind, to sort the truth from wounded pride, and keep the better self alive. Cufflinks and candle smoke, where quiet men learn not to choke on all the words they never say, on all the storms they turn away. Cufflinks and candle smoke, a steady heart beneath the cloak. He sits alone but not undone, a silent war already won. The bartender gave him room to breathe, no friendly question, no need to grieve. The jazz guitar was warm and low, like velvet wrapped around the snow. He thought of a deal he had to end, a hand he could no longer lend, a door he had to close with care, though part of him still lingered there. He was not cruel, he was clear. He had carried out for one full year, and now the night with smoky grace put calm decision on his face. He did not need revenge to stand, he did not need the upper hand. He only needed one clean line, drawn in silence, drawn in time. Cufflinks and candle smoke, where quiet men learn not to choke on all the words they never say, on all the storms they turn away. Cufflinks and candle smoke, a steady heart beneath the cloak. He sits alone but not undone, a silent war already won. Let the mirror hold his shadow, let the whiskey hold the glow, let the night keep all the reasons only disciplined men know. Cufflinks, shining eyes still low, he rose where blue reflections flow. The room felt changed although he'd gone, like candle smoke before the dawn. He chose a seat away from trouble, far from the noise, far from the bubble, close enough to hear the band, far enough to keep command. Two men door about respect and who owned more. He looked once, then looked away. Some games are traps where fools will stay. His hands were calm around the glass. His eyes let shallow thunder pass. A quiet man does not compete with every fire in the street. He had no reason to be drawn into the battles others pawned. He knew his peace was worth more gold than any story loud men told. A seat away from trouble, a heart beneath control. He keeps his distance from the rubble. He keeps possession of his soul. A seat away from trouble, where the low blue guitars roll. He moves with care, he speaks with purpose, a silent man still whole. There was a time he would have risen, walked straight into ego's prison, given every fool his name, then wondered why he felt the same. Now he knows a wiser rhythm, how to live and not go with them, how to let a room explode while he protects his inner road. The candlelight across his wrist made his old watch shine through mist. Each second seemed to softly say, choose your battles, walk away. He did not fear the loud disgrace. He simply chose a better place. A man refined through self-command does not answer every hand. A seat away from trouble, a heart beneath control. He keeps his distance from the rubble. He keeps possession of his soul. A seat away from trouble, where the low blue guitars roll. He moves with care, he speaks with purpose, a silent man still whole. Stepping back and leaving pride upon the track, and knowing when the cleanest win is never letting chaos in. He finished slow and stood alone. The bar kept breathing saxophone, and trouble never knew his name, because he never joined its game. He kept a quiet ledger in his mind, names and debts of a different kind. Not what people owed in gold, but what the years had made him hold. He sat beneath the amber shade, where candlelight and silence stayed. A black coat folded on the chair, a patient sorrow in the air. He knew each promise he had made each hidden price he calmly paid, and every dream he let go by without a witness asking why. He never counted pain out loud, never dressed his wounds for the crowd. He only weighed what must be done before the rising of the sun. In the quiet ledger of his soul, he balanced fire with control. Every loss, every scar, written softly where the deep things are. In the quiet ledger of his days, he chose the narrow, honest way. No applause, no spoken plea, just a man becoming free. The guitar bent like old regret, the kind of man cannot forget. The brush drums move beneath the room like footsteps crossing private gloom. He thought of friends who disappeared, of lessons bought with silent years, of love that faded without blame, of work that never spoke his name. Still he did not curse the past. He knew no storm was built to last. He placed each memory in its line and let the dark become refined. He never needed them to see the cost of his maturity. He knew that strength could look like grace on a still and unreadable face. In the quiet ledger of his soul, he balanced fire with control. Every loss, every scar, written softly where the deep things are. In the quiet ledger of his days, he chose the narrow, honest way. No applause, no spoken plea, just a man becoming free. Some men spend their lives explaining, some men burn their peace complaining. He learned to let the noise pass through and keep his final answer true. When he left, the glass stayed warm, the candles bowed before the storm. The ledger closed, the night stood still. A silent man had paid his bill. There's an ashtray shining near his hand, like a little moon in a tired land. He quit old habits, but not old thought. Some lessons stay after being bought. He watches smoke from another man rise and sees old versions in disguise. A softer drum keeps brushing time while he forgives without a sign. He burns no bridges just to feel warm. He learned restraint from surviving storms. A gentleman's ashtray, clean and cold, holds the stories he never told. every regret he could have named, every wild word he never claimed. He lets the fire die away, chooses tomorrow over yesterday. A gentleman's ashtray by the glass keeps the smoke of a difficult past. There was a night he nearly broke, nearly answered rage with smoke, nearly called the ones who lied, nearly let his manners die. But he sat still until morning came, letting silence tame the flame. When daylight touched the hotel floor, he was not that man anymore. He closed his fist, then opened it wide. He buried the war he carried inside. A gentleman's ashtray, clean and cold, holds the stories he never told, every regret he could have named, every wild word he never claimed. He lets the fire die away, chooses tomorrow over yesterday. A gentleman's ashtray by the glass keeps the smoke of a difficult past. But by where the anger never goes. He may be wounded, he may be tired, still he decides what feeds the fire. The quietest strength in the room tonight is knowing when not to strike. The ashtray stays where the candle glows, the old blues bends and nobody knows. He leaves the smoke, he takes the grace, and walks outside with a steady face. A white pocket square rests near his heart, folded clean like a private art. No one sees the trembling there, underneath the tailored care. He smiles politely, nods once or twice, turns down trouble without thinking twice. The piano drips through the candle haze and finds him lost in careful days. He keeps his sorrow pressed and neat. He will not fall at anyone's feet. The pocket square hides no light, only tears he refused to cry. A quiet symbol, sharp and plain, of a man who dresses up his pain. He moves with class, he moves with need, yes indeed. The pocket square above his chest marks the wars he never confessed. He buried anger in a hotel sink, stood there watching the faucet drink. A message came from a former friend, asking favors once again. He could have answered with the past, but old revenge does not last. He sent 2 lines, polite and clear, then let the meaning disappear. He knows that distance can still be kind. He locks the door and frees the mind. The pocket square hides no lie, only tears he refused to cry. A quiet symbol, sharp and plain, of a man who dresses up his pain. With class, he moves with need. A life of silence, choice indeed. The pocket square above his chest marks the wars he never confessed. Not every kindness must return, not every wound must always burn. He learned the art of stepping wide, of keeping honor close inside. His silence is not empty space, it is a room of chosen grace. He folds the napkin, leaves his chair, straightens once that pocket square. The bar grows still as he walks through, a quiet man in midnight blue. There's an apology on his phone, written twice then left alone. Not because pride kept him blind, but because timing must be kind. He knows some wounds need empty space, not another voice, not another face. So he sits beneath the candle flare with one hard truth and one soft prayer. He wants to mend, but will not force. A gentleman studies the proper course. The unsent apology waits in blue, a quiet mercy he never threw. He holds his words until they heal, until the heart is ready to feel. No desperate knock, no midnight plea, no selfish need to be set free. The unsent apology in his hand shows the measure of a man. He was not always gentle then. He has replayed it again and again. A door closed hard, a sentence sharp, a careless note on a tender heart. He learned that sorry is not a crown, not a way to pull someone back around. It is a bridge that must be laid only where both souls are unafraid. He takes the blame without a show. He lets remorse move quiet and slow. The unsaid apology waits in blue. A quiet mercy he never threw. He holds his words until they heal, until the heart is ready to feel. No desperate knock, no midnight plea, no selfish need to be set free. The unsent apology in his hand shows the measure of a man. There is strength in restraint, there is grace in delay. There are words that turn holy when they wait for the day. He does not hide from what he owes. He simply respects where silence grows. The phone goes dark beside his glass. The old regret begins to pass. He leaves the words where they can stand, unsent but honest, in his hand.
He sits behind the glass where the candle bends low, watching old reflection in the amber glow. A silver watch ticking beside his drink. He does not rush the things he needs to think. The room moves softly, the brass plays thin, but there is a storm that never leaves his skin. He keeps his jacket straight, his breathing slow. A gentleman carries what the world won't know. He does not ask the night for mercy, he does not beg the room to care. He makes one choice with steady hands and leaves a weight right there. He is a man behind the glass, letting every loud hour pass. quiet fire, careful soul, holding pain under control. No confession, no parade, just a prize of choices made. In the dark where candles shine, he turns his trouble into time. There was a letter folded in his coat, with words he wrote but never spoke. A name he loved, a door he closed, a softer road that no one knows. He paid the debt, he took the blame, but never let bitterness wear his name. Some men break when pride is torn. He grew colder, wiser, reborn. He does not chase the final answer, he lets the silence do his part. He knows a man can walk away and still protect his heart. He is the man behind the glass, letting every loud hour pass. Quiet fire, careful soul, holding pain under control. No confession, no parade, just the price of choices made. In the dark where candles shine, he turns his trouble into time. Every scar has a private room, every loss has a quiet tune. He learned to stand without applause, to bend his grief around his law. Not every wound must be displayed, not every prayer must be prayed. The candle dies, the guitar sighs, he leaves before the morning rise. No sound behind him, no looking back, just polished shoes on a midnight track.
In a velvet booth by the far blue wall, he hears every whisper but answers none at all. The candlelight trembles on his wedding ring, though he wears it now like a memory thing. He knows what it means to be left alone, to build a life from dust and stone. Still his voice stays warm, his manners clean, a quiet man in a difficult scene. He measures the cost, he studies the line, he lets no anger waste his wine. Velvet silence, gentleman's blues, a man with nothing left to prove. He carries his sorrow without a sound, never lets his burden drag him down. Velvet silence, steady and deep, he keeps the vows that others could not keep. No loud revenge, no bitter need, just a quiet soul taking the lead. He once had reasons to curse the rain, to speak her name like a chain of pain, but he chose grace in a narrow room, letting old flowers lose their bloom. He signed the papers with a steady hand, then walked alone through another land. No cruel words, no final show, only the strength to let things go. He knows that peace can look like defeat, but he walks away on polished feet. Velvet silence, gentleman's blues, a man with nothing left to prove. He carries his sorrow without a sound, never lets his burden drag him down. Velvet silence, steady and deep, he keeps the vows that others could not keep. No loud revenge, no bitter need, just a quiet soul taking the lead. Some men shout when love turns cold, some men bargain with what they hold, but he has learned the higher art, to lose with grace and guard the heart. He does not bleed for strangers' eyes, he lets the low guitar testify. The glass is empty, the night is still. He pays the tab and leaves the bill. No trace of thunder, no need to speak. Velvet silence, calm and sleek. Table for one by the mirrored wall, but his purpose fills the room like all. A single chair, glass half poured, a quiet face the night adored. He came to think, not to escape, to give his future a cleaner shape. The city outside keeps asking why, but he lets the questions pass him by. He is alone, but not undone. Some battles need a table for one. Table for one, purpose for two, one for the pain and one for the truth. He sits with the past and sends it away, making tomorrow out of today. No drama, no witness, no wounded display, just a gentleman choosing the harder way. Table for one, purpose for two, a silent man doing what he must do. There was a child he promised to guide, a younger brother with fear inside. So he saved his money, changed his plan, became a shelter, became a man. He never told him what it cost, how many dreams were quietly lost. He simply stood where he had to stand, with no spotlight on his hand. He does not need a grateful song. He knows his duty and moves along. Table for one, purpose for two, one for the pain and one for the truth. He sits with the past and sends it away, making tomorrow out of today. No drama, no witness, no wounded display, just a gentleman choosing the harder way. Table for one, purpose for two, a silent man doing what he must do. Love is not always soft and sweet. Sometimes it is tired hands and disciplined feet. Sometimes it pays and never speaks. Sometimes it gives while the giver weakens. He knows this well, but does not complain. He turns obligation into aim. The candle trembles near his glass. The final blue note starts to pass. One chair, one coat, one soul in view. Table for one, purpose for two. He sits where the low light gathers slow, a dark blue room with a golden glow. His tie is loosened, his eyes are clear. He has survived another year, not by luck and not by pride, but by the wars he kept inside. He never needed a public throne. He made discipline his home. He takes one breath, he lets one go. He moves with purpose, nobody knows. Low light discipline, quiet blood under gentleman's skin. He does not bend to every sound. He keeps his feet on sacred ground. Low light discipline, losing less than he could win. He chooses peace where fools compete, and leaves no weakness in retreat. Passed on deals that smelled like gold, because his conscience would not be sold. He lost some friends, he lost some gain, but kept his name untouched by a stain. A younger heart might chase the shine, but he reads shadows between each line. He knows the trap behind applause and trusts his own unwritten laws. He does not gamble with his soul. He lets the night restore control. Quiet blood under gentleman's skin. He does not bend to every sound. He keeps his feet on sacred ground. Low like discipline, losing less than he could win. He chooses peace where fools compete and leaves no weakness in retreat. There is a cost to staying clean, a private tax on every dream. There is a road without a cheer, where only grown men volunteer. He walks that road with polished grace, no hunger showing on his face. The brush drums fade like distant rain. The warm guitar remembers pain. He rises calm, the room grows thin. Low light discipline within. No sound when he leaves, no chair pulled rough, no final look that says too much. He settles the bill with a folded note, then buttons the collar of his dark wool coat. The bar keeps breathing in candle gold, while his face stays calm and his eyes look old. He came with questions carved in stone, and found the answers sitting alone. He does not linger where peace has died. He knows when leaving keeps a man alive. No sound when he leaves, no thunder on the floor, just a quiet kind of strength, closing one more door. He does not need the last word, he does not need them to grieve. A gentleman knows his moment, no sound when he leaves. He once stayed long in a losing place, mistook endurance for saving grace. But wisdom came through sleepless nights, through empty rooms and dim street lights. Now, when respect begins to fade, he takes the exit he has made, not with hatred, not with fear, but with a calm that cuts things clear. He lets no chaos beg him to remain. He steps outside and blesses the pain. No sound when he leaves, no on the floor. Just a quiet kind of strength, closing one more door. He does not need the last word. He does not need them to grieve. A gentleman knows his moment. No sound when he leaves. Leaving is not always loss. Sometimes it is paying the final cost. Sometimes silence turns the key and gives a tired soul liberty. He walks away without a claim, but never walks away from his name. The brush drums fade, the blue lights bend. The midnight street becomes his friend. No applause, no witness, no woven sleeve. Only grace, no sound when he leaves. He keeps no diary on the shelf, but he knows every debt by himself. Every favor, every wound, every promise made too soon. At the corner table where shadows lean, he balances life like a careful machine. A deep blue note slides through the air and finds the silver in his hair. He does not speak of sacrifice. He does not count it twice. He closes the book and pays the price. In the ledger of a quiet man, every loss becomes a plan. Every heartbreak, every fall, written small but standing tall. He never begs the world to see the weight behind his dignity. In the ledger of a quiet man, silence signs what honor can. Lent his strength when his own was low, gave his coat in the winter snow, saved a friend from a broken deal, then swallowed what he had to feel. The friend went dancing in brighter rooms, while he sat alone with darker tunes. He never asked for gratitude, just kept his calm and ordered food. He knows the truth does not need a crowd. Some noble things are never loud. In the ledger of a quiet man, every loss becomes a plan. Every heartbreak, every fall, written small but standing tall. He never begs the world to see the weight behind serenity in the ledger of a quiet man. Silence signs what honor can. There are numbers no bank can hold. There is courage that cannot be sold. A man may lose the visible game and still walk out with a cleaner name. He puts his pain when no one looks, between the lines of private books. The candle fades on the polished bar. He steps outside beneath one star. No witness there to understand the ledger of a quiet man. Black umbrella leans beside his chair, still wet from the midnight air. He came through rain without complaint, with tired eyes and a heart held saint. His cuffs are white, his shoes are dark. He carries thunder without a spark. The bartender knows to leave him be. A quiet man needs privacy. He folds the rain, he folds the past. He knows which storms are built to last. Black umbrella blues, under candlelight and smoke. A gentleman learns what not to lose, and which old chains to break. He does not cry where strangers stare. He leaves his sorrow in the air. Black umbrella blues tonight. He keeps his darkness dressed in light. He once stood waiting outside a door, with flowers dying on the floor. No answer came, no reason clear, only silence in his ear. He did not pound, he did not plead. He learned the shape of unmet need. Now every step he takes is slow, because self-respect took time to grow. He lets the rain wash anger clean. He keeps his pride soft and unseen. Black umbrella blues, under candlelight and smoke. A gentleman learns what not to lose, and which old chains to break. He does not cry where strangers stare. He leaves his sorrow in the air. Black umbrella blues tonight. He keeps his darkness dressed in light. Rain can hide a breaking face. Rain can bless a leaving place. He walked away with nothing said, 1,000 words still in his head. Now he chooses where to stand. umbrella opens at the door. The blue notes follow across the floor. He disappears into the rain with quiet grace and private pain. No applause for the honest man, no roses thrown where he chose to stand. Just a quiet bill and a weathered face, and a slow blues guitar filling empty space. He gave up more than the room can see, kept another man's secret faithfully. Took the blame when the blame came due, because breaking silence would break more too. You know that honor has no parade, no golden plaque for the price he paid. But in the dark where the truth still breathes, he finds the peace he needs. No applause, no crown, no spotlight coming down. Just a man in a dark suit, keeping both feet on the ground. No applause, no show, only things the soul can know. He stands where lesser men would fall, and that's for nothing at all. Reads the room like a sacred text, knows which move should be taken next. Not every wound must become a blade, not every debt must be loudly paid. He called his mother every Sunday night, said I'm alright, though it wasn't quite. Then turned his collar to the winter air and carried on like the world was fair. He lets the glass sit half untouched, some memories already cost too much. He breathes in slow, lets judgment pass, like smoke above the glass. No applause, no crown, no spotlight coming down. Just a man in a dark suit, keeping both feet on the ground. No applause, no show, only things the soul can know. He stands where lesser men would fall, and that's for nothing at all. There's thunder on the tailored cloth, there's fire behind the calm. There are nights he nearly came undone, and still did no one harm. If restraint could wear a name, it might look like his tonight. Not perfect, not untouched by pain, just faithful to the light. The drummer brushes soft and low, the last blue chord begins to go. No applause for the honest man, only silence understands. grace can cut without a sound, like moonlight falling on sacred ground. He learned that lesson the hardest way, from debts no money could ever pay. In a dim-lit bar past 2:15, he sits between what is and what has been. A soft brush rhythm of bourbon glow, and the kind of pain he won't let show. He could speak and make them small, could drag old names across the wall, but power held behind the teeth can turn a bitter heart to peace. It's the quiet cut of grace, the calm on a weathered face. He lets the blade of mercy fall without humiliating all. He's strong enough to leave no trace, strong enough to lose with grace. A silent man in candlelight, doing what is right. A partner stole, a friend denied, a lover left with half the pride. He had his reasons to be cruel, had every right to break the rule, but he remembered who he was before revenge became a cause. So he signed the papers, closed the file, and walked away with a wounded smile. The band plays low, the glasses ring. He gives no sermon to anything. Some men confuse revenge with truth. He let restraint reclaim his youth. It's the quiet cut of grace, the calm on a weathered face. He lets the blade of mercy fall without humiliating all. He's strong enough to leave no trace, strong enough to lose with grace. A silent man in candlelight, doing what is right. Grace is not a softer road, it is strength beneath control. It is carrying the heaviest load without demanding toll. He will remember, he will learn, he will not let bridges burn, just to warm his hands one night on a temporary light. So when he leaves, the room stays still, like something noble passed at will. No speech, no claim, no empty chase, only the quiet cut of grace. walks through the city where the neon bleeds blue. Black coat, sharp old leather shoes. No need to speak when the silence fits right. He lets the streetlights introduce the night. A cigarette ghost in the doorway air, a whiskey glass waiting in an empty chair. He carries ambition like a hidden blade, not for trouble, just the life he made. He knows every favor has a price, every smile can hide advice. He moves with calm, he moves with grace, never leaving fingerprints on a place. Velvet moves in the midnight rain, quiet power running through his veins. He never rushes, never explains, just turns his losses into names. Gentleman soul with a shadowed plan, soft blues burning in a steady man. Whiskey low, city wide, he keeps his kingdom tucked inside. The bar is empty but the piano breathes, soft little chords underneath his sleeves. He tips his glass to the deals that die, to the friends who changed, to the truth that lied. He checks his watch, but he ain't late. Some men chase, he decides his fate. In the mirror glow, he sees no fear, only a future drawing near. He learned that noise can ruin gold, and secrets age when they are told. So he keeps his fire beneath control, a quiet empire in his soul. Velvet moves in the midnight rain, quiet power running through his veins. He never rushes, never explains, just turns his losses into names. Gentleman soul with a shadowed plan, soft blues burning in a steady man. Whiskey low, city wide, he keeps his kingdom tucked inside. He does not need a crowded room, he does not need a crown. He built his name in the after hours, when nobody was around. Mystery in his careful eyes, ambition in his chest. A man who never shows the way can still carry it best. Neon fades on the avenue, brush drums fall like morning dew. He leaves the bar without a sound, but the whole damn night still feels him around. The man behind the smoke never asks to be seen. sits where the light turns amber and the mirror loses green. His glass reflects a lifetime. His eyes reflect a plan. He doesn't need permission to become a stronger man. The piano gives him shelter. The guitar understands. He turns his private pressure into quiet, steady hands. The man behind the smoke, the calm behind the flame. He never tells the story, but the room recalls his name. The man behind the smoke, with a whiskey-colored soul. He carries power softly and keeps his heart controlled. He has known the taste of losing, known the shame of starting new. But every closed door taught him what a silent man can do. No loud revenge, no pleading, no anger on display. He built himself in darkness and stepped into his way. The bass line walks like midnight. The drums brush soft and thin. He lets the shadows gather, then makes a crown within. The man behind the smoke, the calm behind the flame. He never tells the story, but the room recalls his name. The man behind the smoke, with a whiskey-colored soul. He carries power softly and keeps his heart controlled. Smoke can hide a sorrow, smoke can frame a king. But what he keeps in silence is the most expensive thing. The chair is left behind him. The candle fades and chokes. The night still feels the presence of the man behind the smoke. wears a suit cut from rain, dark blue thread and quiet pain. He steps inside the jazz bar slow, with city water on his soul. The candle catches on his cuff, as if the night has seen enough. He sits where all the mirrors fail, and lets the old guitar exhale. He has no need to look unbroken, he simply chooses not to show the private flood beneath the fabric, the places only grown men go. A suit cut from rain, a gentleman trained by pain. He walks through storms without display, and keeps his sorrow tucked away. A suit cut from rain, warm guitar through window panes. He is calm but not untouched, he is carried very much. He once had dreams with silver buttons, fast cars, bright rooms, open skies. But the years taught quieter wishes, and the truth in smaller lives. Now he wants his sleep untroubled, now he wants his word intact. Now he wants a road with purpose, not a crown built out of lack. He lets ambition lose its fever, he lets the neon lose its spell. A man can live with fewer trophies and know himself extremely well. A suit cut from rain, a gentleman trained by pain. He walks through storms without display, and keeps his sorrow tucked away. A suit cut from rain, warm guitar through window panes. He is calm but not untouched, he is carried very much. The collar holds the weather, the lining holds the cost. He learned what style means truly when everything was lost. He leaves before the sunrise, the rain is turned to mist. A suit cut from rain, moving through a world that never noticed. No drama in his departure, no slam door, no bitter scene. He sits beneath the candle with his manners sharp and clean. Tonight he ended something that had gone too far too long. He spoke with calm precision, then left before the wrong. No curse was placed on memory, no insult crossed his tongue. He gave the truth its dignity, then let the silence come. He knows endings can be weapons in the hands of wounded pride, but a gentleman leaves softly when the answer is goodbye. No drama in his departure, no thunder in the room. He lets the dark blues hold him like a flower holds perfume. No drama in departure. No begging to be seen. He knows a man can walk away and still remain serene. A friend said, make them sorry. Another said, take what you can. But revenge is poor instruction for a disciplined man. He came here not to celebrate, not to drown a lonely ache. He came to feel the emptiness and not call it a mistake. He will miss the familiar laughter, he will miss the evening calls, but peace is worth the quiet after love becomes a wall. He does not turn affection into courtroom evidence. He respects what once was sacred by leaving with restraint. No drama in his departure, no thunder in the room. He lets the dark blues hold him like a flower holds perfume. No drama in his departure, no begging to be seen. He knows a man can walk away and still remain serene. There are breakups made of violence, there are endings made of ash, but he chooses clean division over one last selfish crash. He keeps the photographs unburned, keeps the secrets locked away. Some love deserves protection, even after it cannot stay. The candle lowers in the glass, the drummer brushes slow. He leaves a tip, adjusts his sleeve, and rises up to go. No drama in his departure, no witness to his pain. Only one refined man walking through the midnight rain. He built his life like quiet architecture, stone by stone beneath the weather. No Russian tower, no shining claim, no need to carve the family name. At a small round table in a blue-lit room, he sketches tomorrow through the gloom. Not with paper, not with ink, but with the care in how he thinks. He knows foundations matter, he knows the hidden beam. A man becomes his structure long before the dream. Quiet architecture built behind his eyes, a gentleman rising without touching the sky. He measures every doorway, he strengthens every wall. He makes a life in silence lets no weakness fall. He cut out habits that shook the frame, stopped feeding guilt, stopped naming blame. He closed some windows facing regret, fixed old cracks he could not forget. He learned that discipline is art, a careful room around the heart. And no one saw the work begin, they only felt the strength within. He does not boast of progress, he does not show the scars. He simply keeps on building under dim blue stars. Quiet architecture built behind his eyes, a gentleman rising without touching the sky. He measures every doorway, he strengthens every wall. He makes a laugh in silence and lets no weakness fall. There are houses made of noise, there are mansions made of lies. There are men who paint the outside while the inside slowly dies. But he would rather build unseen, with honest wood and patient stone. A quiet man can make a kingdom out of standing on his own. The last candle lowers its gold, the warm guitar turns soft and old. He leaves the bar with steady pace, a quiet structure full of grace. The last bus left at midnight, the train had called his name, a ticket in his jacket, a chance to outrun shame. But across town someone needed him, someone fragile, someone old. So he stayed beside the candle and let escape grow cold. He did not make a speech of it, did not ask the night to care. He only closed his tired eyes and chose to still be there. He was a gentleman who stayed when leaving would be easy. He carried what was heavy with a calm that looked so easy. No crown, no praise, no witness, no song above his name. Just a man who kept his promise and stepped back into the flame. His mother never knew it, his friend would never ask how many dreams he postponed behind a simple task. He buttoned up his overcoat, paid the bill in folded bills, then walked toward obligation through the dark and sleeping hills. The city made no monument, the rain erased his track, but peace was walking with him like a hand upon his back. He was a gentleman who stayed when leaving would be easy. He carried what was heavy with a calm that looked so easy. No crown, no praise, no witness, no song above his name. Just a man who kept his promise and stepped back into the flame. Soft drums roll like distant wheels, guitar strings bent like hidden steel. Sometimes freedom waits its turn while deeper fires quietly burn. He never spoke of what he gave, never called his silence brave. The morning found him standing tall, a quiet man who answered all. Smoke rings drift where the low lamps lean over velvet seats and a bottle green. He sees the man who once did him wrong, laughing too hard at a broken song. Old anger rises in a polished glass, bringing back winters that should have passed. But revenge is cheap in a crowded room, and he won't decorate another man's doom. Smoke rings in mercy, bitter and slow. He lets the blade stay where it won't show. Smoke rings in mercy, dark as wine. He keeps his peace and draws the line. The man comes near with a nervous grin, carrying shame under borrowed skin. He says, I know I don't deserve your hand. The gentleman nods like he understands. He doesn't excuse, he doesn't forget. He simply refuses to live in the debt. There's freedom hidden in a calm reply when a man lets the old ghost die. Smoke rings in mercy, quiet release. He trades the wound for a heart of peace. Smoke rings and mercy, no grand design. He walks away from a poisoned shrine. The room keeps breathing, the brushes sigh. A candle flickers in his tired eye. Some victories never look like wins. they look like closing the door on sins. He steps outside in a charcoal coat with no confession caught in his throat. Smoke rings and mercy fade above. Not every silence is lack of love. Silent shoes on Bourbon Street, rainwater shining under tired feet. He walks through laughter, smoke and brass, past neon ghost in a whiskey glass. He knows the names of men who fell for loud applause and stories to tell. But he moves careful, collar turned high, with a no goodbye behind his eye. He keeps his trouble buttoned tight, lest the city burn electric bright. The louder the night begins to play, the less he gives away. Silent shoes, steady soul, a heart under perfect control. He don't ask the world to understand, he just does what a quiet man can. Silent shoes, midnight street, a private wall beneath the beat. You feel him pass before you know, then he's gone where the blue winds go. Inside the bar, the trumpet weeps, a woman laughs, a gambler sleeps. He takes a seat where the mirror bends, far from enemies, close to friends. There's a call he chooses not to make, a bridge he chooses not to break. There's love he lost by doing right, still he blesses her name tonight. He counts the cost, then pays in peace, lets wounded pride find its release. The hardest road he ever chose was the one nobody knows. Silent shoes, steady soul, a heart under perfect control. He don't ask the world to understand, he just does what a quiet man can. Silent shoes, midnight street, a private war beneath the beat. You feel him pass before you know, then he's gone where the blue winds go. He has no sermon, no disguise, just tired quiet grace and watchful eyes. A man can lose and still be whole if he never auctions off his soul. So he lets the last chord fall, leaves a bill beside the wall. Some men announce the ground they stand. He just stands. Silent shoes, low blue flame. He came with nothing, left no name. But the room grew still when he crossed the floor, and stayed that way after the door.